Hello everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and I'm sharing again how I have been playing with my new release from Funky Fossil that I designed. I'm still very excited about it. So this is the face-based stencil that I'm using here, and I'm going to be putting a face at either side of my page. So I'm just using just over half of the stencil, and I'm drawing through it using my pencil. I think at the minute this is my favourite way to use this stencil, although I have applied paint through it as well. It just gives a really different look, which I guess is one of the joys of it. It's quite versatile. So again, just drawing through and adding in the features that I want, and that gives me a great starting point for my page. So once I've done that, I'm then going to use my Posca pen and just draw in those features. So even if I wanted to add skin tone paint onto my face, I've still got those features there that I can then go in and draw over again afterwards. But as it is at the minute, I'm really enjoying just using the stencil to create faces on my pages and using it this way. So you can see the face really comes alive when you put that eye in as well. And then when you add catch lights in as well, that really starts to make the big difference. So just doing the same on both sides of the page, using the same Posca pen. And just when that's finished, then move on to the next part. So next, it's the tricky job of adding in some hair. Sometimes this goes really well, and other times I add in hair and think, oh, I wish I'd not done that. Kind of sometimes doesn't quite go how you intend. I think what I have learnt about adding hair onto faces I've drawn is not to get too hung up about it and just to stick some sort of idea of hair up there and not worry too much. So I'm using, I think that's apricot that I'm using on my background. And this is one of Dina's latest release new brushes as well, which I know you'll all be able to get your hands on very, very soon. So these stencils are available on my website. I have got a limited amount of them, but they're also available from funkyfossil.co.uk. And apparently they're going to be available from Frantic Stamper in the US. I'm not sure whether they've actually landed there yet or not, but I have been reliably informed by Sarah from Funky Fossil that they will be available there too, for those of you that are in the US. So I've used apricot first, then I'm using my wavy line stencil and I'm going back in with some syrup. So I'm using this colour to kind of introduce a bit of the craft back into the journal page and starting to build up the interest on this background here using different stencil patterns and shapes. So here I'm using blushing, which is a colour that I rarely choose at all. It's not one of my favourites. I don't really know why. This is the Dots and Dashes stencil, and just adding some of those lovely patterns onto the journal page too. So then this is a technique that I've often used. I'm using a Jane Davenport License to Quill pen. Just put a bit of the ink onto my glass mat, and then I'm using my water brush just to dilute some of that down and just add some shadows onto my face, just to bring a little bit more of a 3D effect onto my page. That arm that you saw there was one of my children borrowing some of my things. Yeah, so you'll notice the difference. You can see the difference in the two faces here on the right and on the left. When you add a little bit of shadow in or some colour, it just starts to lift that face and gives it a bit more depth. So this is something that I really do like to do. And I'm just using that piece of kitchen roll. If anywhere I feel it's just gone too dark, I just lifting some of the colour off, a bit like you would with watercolour paint, really. So then once I had done that, this is my middle child, Lee, who I went downstairs to do a quick job and they decided to give me some love, apparently. I've only just seen it when I've been editing my video and it did make me laugh. It's made me smile too. Thanks, Lee. That's so lovely. So then I am using black gesso and using one of Dina's new brushes and adding some black stripes across my journal page here. This is going to be a place where I can add some journaling. So you will have seen Megan Quinlan do this in her work. One of the great things about the art journaling community is how we can support each other and lift each other up. And, you know, one of the reasons we share what we do is to give ideas and inspiration to others. So, yeah, this is an idea that I got from Megan. And I'm using it here on this journal page. Black gesso is a really great thing to use because it dries really matte, and I really like that. So then I'm going in with my Signo Uniball in white, and I'm just outlining those lines just in a really sketchy way. I think I've said before that my Signo Uniball pens this time haven't really been that brilliant. The ink hasn't flowed particularly well. But I'm trying not to get too hung up about it, so it doesn't matter. It just gives more of a sketchy look, I guess. And then I am going to go in and add some journaling. This, I think I've said, is one of my favourite stamps from my new release, which is a bizarre thing. It is my my signature dots in a stamp, and I love using it. It's such a quick way to add those lovely dots onto the page. So then once I'd done that, I used black archival ink for that, by the way. I'm then going in with a quote, using a white Posca pen to do that. It pops really nicely, doesn't it, against the black gesso. And then after adding some highlights to the faces using the white Posca pen, I'm then going in and adding some white dots. Hilariously, I have no idea why I didn't use my new stamp to do this. It's very funny. But anyway, so I'm trying to balance the dark and the light on this page, and I think that's why I then decided to go in and add some white dots as well, just so that there was more contrast there too. So I hope you've enjoyed watching how I am using some of my new products produced by funkyfossil.co.uk, designed by me, in my art journal. Don't forget you can get hold of those from the 3 different places from my website, artjournallove.com, funkyfossil.co.uk and Frantic Stamper in the US. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and I hope to see you again soon.